Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Out Today and What I Missed, this time for August 29th, 2025. This week we have another 20 albums that we'll be covering, 14 that are out today, and 6 that I missed along the way. This is a very star-studded week, so why don't we just get right into it. First up, we have Adore with We Failed to Love Ourselves. And if that's not true, the debut album from this hard-hitting UK band is for the heaviest of the sludge-layered post-metal fans out there. Featuring past and present members of Gravelines, Aerosol Jesus, Johnny Trant, and Sea Bastard, Adore finds a way to combine the best elements of these genres with an added sense of doom to make the music feel like it is thickening around you and you're about to succumb to all of its power. While many of the songs are slower, and there are occasional mid-tempo to even fast riffs that break the tension, that also brings a more chaotic feel to it all, adding so much dynamics into the sound. While production is right where it needs to be with a band like this, and the songwriting is executed in a way that never lingers too long in a particular riff, it will still make you feel like you're frozen in its mist. For those who enjoy the heaviest ends of the Ocean and Mastodon, while adding flares of Cult of Luna, Converge, and Botch, you should give this one a proper shot. Now we have Darker Half with Book of Fate. The Australian band's 5th album is a proper showcase of what can be done when you write some of the catchiest riffs in melodic metal, but still have this power metal tinge to it all. While the band started off as more of a thrash band, the band has become more of a power metal and melodic metal band, and that really works in their favor. The production is pure 80s, and the songwriting, while it does show off some chops, is all about writing the best material possible as lean as possible. This is much more for those who enjoy the likes of Dokken, Giant, and yeah, even Iron Maiden. Overall, the slow shift in sound is exactly what the band needed, and it makes the band enjoyable time and time again. If you need your 80s fix, check this one out. Up now we have Headless with Transitional Objects. The 4th album from this Italian band is such an infectious piece of progressive rock, hard rock, and AOR. The band can get as heavy as Megadeth, they even do a cover I Thought I Knew It All, but they also add these proggy moments that would make any Fates Warning or Queensryche fan very happy, and you add a little bit of AOR moments that any 80s fan will be drooling over, and you have Headless. It's a grand mix of it all, while never sounding like they're ripping anybody off. The production is nice and punchy, and the songwriting can go from straight ahead to wacky prog riffs, and it'll still fit like a glove. This is an album for those who truly appreciate that late 80s to mid 90s sound of heavy music, and it feels tailor-made for someone of my taste. Headless is for anyone who misses those glory days, but want it updated just enough for 2025. This is incredible work. Next up, we have Helloween with Giants and Monsters. Helloween have returned with their 2nd album of this all-star lineup and their 19th album overall. The renewed energy of the band since getting back together, with all 3 vocalists doing their best work, and it's showing off all of the greatest tendencies that make a longtime fan of Helloween like myself very happy. The band goes into 3 forms on the album: the fast and heavy power metal side, the mid-tempo stompers of their arena rock sound, and the heavy hard rock sound that fills in between. Seeing the band showcase everything they can do and still make it sound authentic is a hard thing to accomplish, especially with this many albums into their career, but I dare say they are still making some of the best music that they ever have made. And I'll even go one further and say Giants on the Run might be my favorite Helloween song ever. They have been doing such an incredible job since their self-titled album, and if you enjoyed that album, you're going to love everything Helloween has in store for you with this particular album. It is fantastic from beginning to end. Next up is a band I think is pronounced IHLO, I-H-L-O, with Legacy. The sophomore album from this UK prog band is such a tight and unique experience. The band can hit some of the most melodic moments you've heard in progressive metal in 2025, and then balance it out with some of those crushing elements of the genre to make this a perfect blend. While most of the songs are on the longer side for the average listener, and pretty short for the average prog fan, the band never feels like it is meandering or losing grasp of the point. Everything on here is done with such a fine point to it all, and it makes for a much more memorable experience every time you listen to it. The production is crystal clear and the songwriting and musicianship is top notch. This is a band that knows when to show off and when to play for the song. If you enjoy the likes of Distorted Harmony, and please come back, Textures, Vola, and of course Haken, this is a band that you need in your life right now. Next up is Imperishable with Revelation in Purity. This is the second band I've covered this year with the name Imperishable, but this time it's coming straight out of the US, featuring Brian Kingsland of Nile, Derek Roddy of so many bands, but he did play a few tracks on Nile's Black Seed of Vengeance, and Alex Rush of the band Zale. This band feels like early day Nile meets a more blackened edge to it all, with a heavy dose of Hate Eternal. The production is more on the raw end of things, so it really will remind you of those late 90s, early 2000s styles of tech death and death metal. The songwriting is blistering, but it's also comprehensible. It also blazes by so quickly. It's 7 songs and a little over 32 minutes long. It gives you that late 90s, early 2000s love letter to tech death and blackened death metal, with just enough herbs and spices to make it their own thing in 2025. If you miss those days, you need to hear what Imperishable is all about. Up next is Ivy Gardens with Death of Dawn Valley. The sophomore album from this Canadian band is an intriguing mix of progressive and stoner doom that still blows me away time and time again, even if this will be your first listen today. In what feels like a wild concoction of King Crimson, Mastodon, Caius, and The Sword, Ivy Gardens has taken their influences and created a form of progressive stoner metal that is endlessly fun to listen to, and you'll be able to explore more of their sound every time that you turn them up on your speakers. The music is too sporadic to be straight up stoner, and all the fuzz all over the place makes it much more than just your typical prog rock album. It's the kind of album that you put on and want to explore everything that it has to offer. The production is this fine line between raw and polished that can only be described as human, and the songwriting can be wacky, but it is done in the best of ways. This won't be everyone's bag, but if you want to hear how to properly mix these genres together in a very innovative way, check out Ivy Gardens and all that their music has to offer you. Now we have Kanoom with Cosmo Crater, the 4th album into this German band's career, and they're creating some death-defying displays of death metal. The production is raw, but it has this early 90s death metal feel in the best of ways. And the songwriting, I can hear everything from Death and Morbid Angel and Immolation, along with some other influences to make the music stand out on its own. This is the kind of death metal that instantly grabs your attention and keeps it for all 7 tracks. There's a brief instrumental in the middle that gives you a little bit of breathing room before you get pummeled all over again. Otherwise, this album is one of the finest displays of death metal that's just different enough to grab your attention and to show you what the genre is all about in 2025. And if you want that, see what Kanoom has in store for you. Next up, we have Pink Shift with Earthkeeper. The sophomore album from this up-and-coming band is an album that is sure to bring a lot of fire to their sound and the world that we live in today. It is an angry display of what we have done to the world and what a short time that we have left. Using everything from its resources to how we treat each other to how we treat ourselves is on full display here, and it's quite the cathartic look. You match that up with the alternative metal sound that hits everything from radio rock to more Slipknot tendencies to this unexpected pop-punk sound that at least I didn't see it coming. It's a band with so many layers and with a great message. I will never go as far to say that this will be for everyone, especially for those who normally check out the list that I do, but this is an album that feels like a battle cry for trying to salvage what we have left of the world and for ourselves. If that's not enough to give it a spin, I don't know what else I could possibly say that would. If you have an open mind, give this one a listen. Now we have Rising Steel with Legion of the Grave. The 4th album from this French heavy metal band hits everything that you love about metal of yesteryear, but done in 2025. From the vocals that remind you from everything from Messiah of Candlemass to Rob Halford of Priest, to the musicianship that feels as tight and as memorable as Maiden and Priest, while still having this flair to it all that reminds me so much of bands like Riot, Manila Road, and Candlemass. It's a dark album, especially in its themes, and it will hit right at home for those who enjoy the new wave of British heavy metal sound mixed in with other influences that make it not sound like a carbon copy band. A lot of the proto-metal, proto-doom, doom, and proto-power metal. If you want some authentic heavy metal, you can't do much better than Rising Steel. Now we have Salu with Night. There has been an influx of bands that are capturing that Nordic folk sound that is nearly metal over the past several years. But I've yet to hear one who's done it quite like what Salu has brought to the table. The 6th album from this outfit is such a dynamic and emotional journey of an album that hits in all the right ways. It can hit you so hard with some heavier elements, but sweep you away with its captivating and warlike anthemic sounds that can only be truly appreciated by just giving this album a spin. The production is pitch perfect, and the songwriting feels like it's a true soundscape to yesteryear. Of course, there are bands like Fawn, Heliong, and Wardruna who have done this style, but none of them have done it like Salu. Give this one your full attention and proceed to drift away into that endless ocean. Now we have Ursa Wrath with Emergence. The debut album from the Seattle band is quite the punch of progressive, thrash, and almost black metal elements. It feels like Goatwhore if they were a little proggier. It feels like Power Trip if they embraced more of their evil tendencies. It's a great combination. The band has also occasionally hit these more sludgy moments that you just don't see coming, especially on that first listen. But they hit you just as hard as anything that you would hear from the likes of Pallbearer or even Thou. You mix all of this into a raw but punchy production style, and you have an album that more than lives up to its title. The album emerges and feels like it will destroy you. If you want to hear a mix of these genres done in a very earnest way, see what Ursa Wrath has in store. It's quite a mighty fine mix. And finally, for brand new albums out today, we have Vicious Rumors with The Devil's Asylum. The 14th album from this long-running US band is easily some of the best work Vicious Rumors has ever done. Their mix of heavy metal, power metal, and just enough groove and other tendencies will always make this band stand out, and has helped them last as long as they have as well, 40 years since their debut album. Of course, that comes with a lot of lineup changes, and this time around they have 3/5 of a new lineup, but that helps update the sound just enough to make this new. The core sound has never left the band, but the band knows when to shift just enough not to make the same album twice. The production is stellar, and it's just what this style needs. The band has always conquered everything from the turbo era of Judas Priest to the heaviest ends of power thrash to the mid-tempo stompers that feel like arena anthems. All of that and more are here on display. One of the most underappreciated bands of the style is back in 2025 with an incredible take on The Devil's Asylum. Whether you've heard them 40 years ago or you're hearing about them for the first time now, give them a shot and see what this does for you. And now it's time for everything that I've missed along the way, starting with Basque and The Turning. The 4th album from the South Carolina band is my first foray into the band, but I fell in love with the sound. In what feels like a haunted and evil mix of Americana, indie rock, and southern doom, Basque is creating a unique sound that gives me hope for what can be done when you continue to genre bend. I can hear Baroness, Pallbearer, Yes, and even some indie rock and Americana thrown together to create a sound that is uniquely their own, and it takes you on a journey that you simply don't expect if you're not familiar with this. I'd love to see these guys do a tour with a band like Panopticon or Wayfarer. I think there's enough differences between all of them, but they are similar enough to make for a very exciting night of music. The production is top-notch and the songwriting is dynamic and ever-branching. This is an album that won't be for everyone, but for those who want to explore what heavy music can be, you need to check out what Basque is all about immediately. Now we have Burning Witches with Inquisition. The 6th album from this incredible display of a heavy metal band has returned, and they have made their most intense album to date. Truly living up to their name, this album burns everything in its path. Whether they're paying tribute to the new wave of British heavy metal, or going full guns blazing in their power metal tendencies, or getting near the death and black metal territory with its brutality, the band continues to refine and improve with every album, and this is far from an exception. This is the first album to feature Courtney Cox, no, not that one, on guitar, as a full member of the band, showcasing everything that she's capable of, but done in a new light. The production pounds and the songwriting feels so fresh and inspired. If you've never checked out the band before, this is the perfect starter album. For everyone else, this is the most intense album the band has ever had, and I can feel that they are going to continue what heavy truly can be. Go pick this one up. Now we have Devolver with Non Compos Mentis. The sophomore album from this Canadian band is the perfect blend of melodeath and metalcore, much like chocolate and peanut butter. This takes the best aspects of both genres, makes enough changes to feel authentic, and creates a sound that hits just as much in 2025 as it would have back in 2005. The production is brutal but still audible and filled with layers. The songwriting shows off the capabilities of everyone in the band, but it doesn't reveal all of its tricks. Overall, this is for anyone who enjoys everything from 90s era In Flames, to 2000s Soilwork, to later 2000s Lamb of God, to the modern day capabilities of what melodeath and metalcore are all about. This is a great trip back in time, but also a look forward to what can be done. This is excellent stuff. Next up is a band name that I truly apologize for getting wrong, but I know I'm going to despite having some German ancestry. This is Führerschwanz with Nightclub. In all honesty, despite being around for over 20 years and having 13 albums now, this is the first time I've actually checked out this German folk metal band. I didn't realize how much of a smile I would have when listening to this album. While there are folk metal bands that are dead serious, and I love those bands, there are folk metal bands that are also just in it for the memes as well, and you know who they are. This band feels like a fine line in between between both, where the music is filled with fun and hilarious moments, but the music is done with such a finesse and authenticity that doesn't make it feel like a clickbait band. They are the real deal despite having fun, which is a hard thing to pull off. For example, I was not expecting them to have duets with Lords of the Lost and Doro on this one, and even more so, I never would have expected to cover a frickin' Gangnam Style on here either. The production is extremely polished and full, and the songwriting, whether it's a cover or not, feels like it's exactly what it should be without going overboard. Overall, this band is all about fun and not taking themselves so seriously, but making sure that the music is serious. If you want a fun experience when it comes to folk metal, check out what this band has to offer. You may have found your new favorite experience when it comes to folk metal. Next up, we have Hammer King with Make Metal Royal Again. The fifth album from this German power metal band is such a treat of an album. What feels like such a great tongue-in-cheek reference to, well, you know, I shouldn't have to spell it out for you. Hammer King returns with their blend of endlessly catchy, but profound and anthemic songs. The production is perfect for the style, and the songwriting is lean, mean, and gives you just enough to have a smile to know what's going on. This is an argument that this might be the best Hammer King album to date, and I would arguably have to agree. This has everything I love about the band, but it's even more refined and profound. If you enjoy your power metal about kings, both in the sky and ones who think of themselves as kings, check out what Hammer King has to offer in all of their glory. Now we have Judgment Fire with Forever Crimson Dawn. After discovering this band last year with Kingdom of Skyscrapers, Judgment Fire has returned with their fourth album in 2 years. And no, they're not an AI band. The band continues to explore more of their melodeath side with just enough of the gothic metal tendencies that makes the band truly stand out to me. The production is just raw enough without losing any of the polish, and the songwriting is rich and very inspired. With 10 songs and almost 43.5 minutes of music on display, this is an album that feels like the perfect length for anyone who's looking for a genre-bending band and knows how to do it in the best of ways to hit both extremes, but still be catchy. If you've never heard this band before, and you want to hear what melodeath and gothic metal can sound like together, this is the perfect album to start with, as it contains all of their best elements into one tight package. Give this one a spin, as Judging the Fire is more than worthy of your time. And finally today we have Mono Inc. with Darkness. The 13th album from this long-running German gothic band is also my first foray into this band, but I instantly fell in love with what they're doing, and I'm happy that I have 12 other albums to go check out now. This is my kind of straight-up gothic where the music doesn't need to just be dreary and sad the whole time, despite it being very dark and fun to listen to. The production is picture perfect, and the songwriting is endlessly inspired. It can get quite dark, but when you can still make it be very head-bobbing and it keeps your attention for all 12 songs in almost 47 minutes, you have to be doing something right. But if you want a band that sounds like Lord of the Lost, Blunt Ungle, and the goth side of Moonsorrow, give Mono Inc. your proper attention. I think you're going to love what you hear. There you go, kids, out today in what I missed for August 29th, 2025. Another 20 albums down and 740 albums that I've covered in 2025 so far. So what do you think? Did I pick out some good albums? Did I pick out some bad albums? Anything you're discovering for the first time? Anything you're going to be steering clear of? Please let me know down below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're getting so close to 2,000 subscribers on here, which I know is quite low for someone who's been doing it as long as I have, but every single subscriber matters to me. And if you could actually check out a video and make sure that you check out the whole thing, I would really, truly appreciate it. Make sure to come back in a couple days as I do my mega compilation of every album I reviewed in August 2025, and make sure to come back Friday for Out Today and What I Missed for September 5th, 2025. And until then, for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel, this is Josh Ronquist saying, embrace the skullet.